people check into the live stream, so I know for a fact this is only people watching the recording. So hello, people in the future. I'm Derek in the past. I am the community steward here at ETH Denver, aka SporkDAO, and today I am joined by not one but two guests from IoTeX, where they are connecting Web3 to the real world. I'm joined by Giuseppe and Simone. Hello, gentlemen. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So in just a moment, we're going to dig into what y'all have been working on. But I love, before we do, if we can maybe take a small detour and talk about your journeys and what you've been working on. For example, folks that have been watching these know that my background is as a high school teacher. And then I started doing
cool.
the like self-taught developer thing, doing like JavaScript tutorials on Free Code Camp, just one at a time. Like, what's an array? Cut to fall down the Web3 rabbit hole. And now I get to talk to folks like you. So there are all kinds of winding paths. And I'm curious, maybe we could start with you, Giuseppe. How did you end up in Web3 in your current role? And were there any interesting moments along the way?
Oh my God, so many, I don't know, interesting, mind-blowing, all sorts of moments. It all started in 1988. I was born, no, I'm kidding. Originally I am from Italy. I'm currently based in New York. And how this whole journey started, it actually started with, I was interested in crypto, just, as a speculator. And I never really thought about the, blockchain or the technology behind all the cryptos and all that kind of stuff. And then, forward to 2020, I wanted to learn how to code. So I started kind of like what you did, teach myself. I sort of consumed all sorts of content. I went into every platform, website, bootcamp course, tutorial, video. I went crazy. And then I met Simone. When was it? And IoTeX in about June 2022. Yeah. And somehow I convinced him that I was good enough, and that's how we ended up being here. And so far, it's been actually an amazing journey. I learned a lot about IoTeX, what IoTeX is doing. I learned more about Web3 and all the stuff that people are building now, and it's we just went way beyond crypto. Like, I don't even look at cryptocurrencies anymore. It's just, I don't have time.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, and one I think a lot of our community resonates with. Like, you kind of come for the price action. That's like the Trojan horse, where it's like, oh yeah, Bitcoin, that'll make me rich, right? And then you start learning about like Ethereum and smart contracts and Web3 and like interesting kinds of technologies you can do. And like DAOs, for example, DAOs are something that's very dear to me because it's taking like the very old idea of a workers' cooperative where people are sort of the same level of importance and decision-making ability instead of like a top-down structure like we see in corporations or governments. And like, okay, how can we use technology to make it easy for strangers on the other side of the world to coordinate with each other? So that's the kind of stuff that keeps me coming back, not like, is ETH more expensive today? So we're a community of builders.
It's because we all know eventually we'll all be rich, so it doesn't really matter at this point. It's unspoken thing, we all know we'll make it.
Eventually.
We'll be fine.
Maybe not this year, maybe not next year.
Yeah, we'll be all right.
Yeah. Okay, and how about you, Simone? What was your path?
Yeah, how far should I start either? Okay, no. Yeah,
we got time.
Back in the 70s.
No, 76. So, I always had a passion for IT and bits and bytes from when I was really a child. But I don't want to start so far. I got a degree. I have quite a technical background. I got a master's degree in computer engineering and industrial and robotic automation. And I used to work all my life in industrial automation, machine vision, and building automatic machines for the manufacturing. Using machine vision and image processing, it was very, very interesting. I even had the chance to create my own industrial patents in the field. It was very exciting. I also have one of my machines here next to me as a reminder of my past life. And then at some point,
told me that stuff.
I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah. There are many things I've not told you yet.
He saved this just for the
What
event
is the
research.
machine?
Okay.
Is it like a
Oh,
piece of a
let
very
me.
large thing, or yeah? Please
I
show
can
us.
maybe I can show it to you. Let's
Hell
see
yeah.
if
Derek,
you
I
can
talked to Simone
see
more than I
it.
talked to my
Yeah.
mom, and he has never shown me this.
Is it the one against the
Same.
wall there?
It's that black one
What does it
there.
do?
Oh, cool.
Well, so that's long, but yeah, you can put like in industrial like parts from the engine, from the car engine. You can put 6 of them inside. Then you push a button. There is a camera that is scanning all the parts. They will also rotate, and then it will take images. And then there is an image processing that would just make measurements and check for defects, and then just tell
Quality
you which
control.
ones, quality, less quality checks. And yeah, it has some special features, like it's also cleaning the part. So it was an invention, definitely. But
Okay.
eventually I never marketed it because it seems I was not good at selling stuff.
Turns out
Anyway,
marketing's
yeah,
hard. We all
yeah,
know marketing's
it is
hard.
hard. Yeah. But also at some point I met this blockchain stuff in 2018. So pretty, yeah, I would say recently, almost. And yeah, so I was interested in what it is, and actually never got caught into the price stuff, and just into the blockchain aspects. And somebody just submitted me this white paper about IoTeX. It was the second white paper I've read. I will not even mention the first one. It was a scam. But the second one was IoTeX, and it was all about this IoT and blockchain, and like the use of blockchain with machines, and with real world data. It was very, very interesting given my previous background, and so I just started learning from there. And I was part of the I think one of the first community users in the IoTeX community, and contributing every day, like explaining everybody what IoTeX was doing, because it was very technical as a blockchain project. And so actually after 2 years in the community, I joined the team as a developer relations, the first element of the developer relations team, and still there with a couple new team members like Giuseppe that are great, great teammates to work with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to say GM to a few folks that are rejoining us. Hi, Lana, the Web3 girl, and welcome back. Beam me up now. You know I love you. I am curious to see what IoTeX is doing, because here at ETH Denver, we stream Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Wednesday our theme is front end, trying to make it more clear whether it's the folks that are building front ends or even just users, understanding how things like connect wallet buttons work, what's a provider, a signer, how does my browser talk to the blockchain itself, what is like a node in between, what, like, we spoke with Alchemy last week to understand that like infrastructure layer. So I'm curious what types of tooling IoTeX is working on to try to make like the developer experience or even the user experience that much smoother, because I mean, as anyone who's used Web3 dApps in their current form knows, we've got a long way to go. Like, we figured out some of our design patterns. Like, okay, great. I can expect a connect wallet button on the top right corner of most dApps. But we're still getting rugged all the time. Signing transactions is crazy and weird, and you don't really know what you're doing unless you take forever to do it. And so it's I don't know. When I think about front end, I think about UX, and even though I know IoTeX might not be like a design firm, right? But I think about what are we trying to get people to do? How do they do it? And why are they doing it? So I just wanted to set the table in the conversation around like not forgetting that this is all for people, for users. And I'm curious what sorts of problems y'all are thinking about and what types of solutions you think could help.
All right, that's a good one. I guess maybe Simone, take it away. And
I can start. Maybe I can start
yeah.
part of this conversation. And so yeah, actually there would be a lot to say, because as I said, IoTeX always focused on real world, on the intersection of blockchain with real world, right? I think many projects along the recent years have been talking about intersecting blockchain and IoT, blockchain and real world, right? It's a complex topic for sure, I can tell. So what we are trying to do to really research and apply blockchain to real world data. And this is somehow the same as saying blockchain and IoT, because anyway, most of the real world data today, everyday data, goes through devices, right? Could be a smartphone, right? But could be an energy meter, could be a fitness tracker. But basically everything around us today is connected. So saying real world data and saying IoT is almost the same, or at least they are overlapping a lot. So I would use both terms in an interchangeable way. So basically, as I said, connecting real world data with blockchain, what does it mean, right? You cannot actually send real world data to the blockchain. On the opposite of what many people think, blockchain is not a storage layer. Blockchain is not like a very performant computational layer. Actually, it's a shared computer. It's a shared virtual machine. It's even shared among all the users that use the same computer, the same distributed computer. Definitely not ideal, right, for heavy computation. Not even
It's a very bad computer. We have thousands
very,
and tens of thousands of nodes working together to be one bad computer.
Yeah, and it's also very expensive. Not only bad, but also expensive. And so actually,
a great starting point.
Exactly. So I think many teams today, and also many users or blockchain users, converge toward the idea that you need a layer 2, right, to work on the side with blockchain, and where blockchain is going to be the strong authorization layer, and that provides transparency, immutability, and decentralized identities, and trusted logic, right, and trusted financial logic. While on the other layers, like external layers or side chains, or call whatever you want to call them, you are going to scale with more storage, with more computational power, and generating smaller pieces of, we call them proofs, or roll-ups or whatever, right, that they use, that then can be easily ingested by a smart contract to trigger whatever you want to trigger on the layer 1. And then this layer 2, actually what we are working on is on creating this layer 2 architecture on the side of our own layer 1 blockchain to ingest data from the real world and generate these proofs for smart contracts on chain, their logic. And we also do a lot of research on the hardware side, and we even created real hardware that can be connected blockchain application. So this is actually a lot of things that we do. What we are doing to make these things easy, because they are complex, right? So we are building this layer 2. We are also building a UI that allows you to run this layer 2 node and configure this node to ingest data from the real world and program this node to generate proofs for smart contracts. And then on top of this layer, we are also building products on the layer 2 that make it easy to deploy real world plus blockchain applications with one click. Now, said this way, it's a little bit hard to understand. It would require to show something, but I think we can focus this discussion on one possible use case, right, among the many possible use cases of connecting real world and blockchain applications. And I would say this use case is about connecting users' location, GPS location, with blockchain applications, right? That's one specific use case that you can use IoTeX tools for. So maybe, Giuseppe, you want to introduce something about this topic?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, just a couple of things for context, right? So we actually are going to do a workshop during Middle Week in Denver, and basically Simone sort of funneled it through to the trusted location, and that's what we're going to base our workshop on. Because you have to consider the multitude of use cases and things that IoTeX is building for. But at the end of the day, we also want to cater to devs just like us, with their computers at home, that they want to build like a product. They have a small team, or they just want to play and inject real world data into their apps, into their decentralized apps. And so we thought of just basically doing this for these kind of developers. And I think it's a cool use case, because imagine how many things could be done with the trusted location. So that the location cannot be spoofed. And so, I don't know, you could drop special NFTs for your concert, or for special perks. They can be redeemed only if you were in a certain location. It can have social-fi implications, can have game-fi implications, maybe, like a Pokemon Go based on real data. You can use it, maybe your avatars in whatever game you're playing could claim sort of like, special skills or skins based on your location, and so forth and so on. So we thought this was sort of like a strong use case to just create an in-house product.
Okay. Well, maybe we can get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Sure. So like I said, very surprisingly, build the app on trusted location. We're going to be actually in Denver on the 25th. So if anybody wants to come and join our workshop, we'll be more than happy to have people over. What do you guys think? Should we do quick sneak peek into what we built, or maybe go through the slides a little bit?
Yeah, let me maybe go through this slide just to represent in a very simple way, like the infra and products of the IoTeX ecosystem. This is a very, very simple slide, definitely not exhaustive on what IoTeX has built already and what we are building, but in a very simple way, I want just to say that IoTeX is a layer 1 blockchain built from scratch. It's compatible with Ethereum. So if you are an Ethereum developer, you can build on top of IoTeX straight away, not change to your code or to your clients or to your front end. And then we also have a layer 2 that we call network, that we call WebStream, which is intended to actually glue together the real world with the blockchain applications. And then we have a whole set of core products, starting from the IoPay, that's the official wallet of IoTeX. That's also multi-chain wallet. And we have a cross-blockchain bridge that connects IoTeX to mainstream blockchain. We have different like real IoT devices like this one. I don't know if it's visible, that we have built to prove our research in the IoT hardware space and how to intersect IoT devices with blockchain applications. So this is like the overall basic stuff that IoTeX is building. And then on top of these architectures, we are also leading by examples and building like this type of applications. We call these applications machine-fi applications, which are the apps that work on real-world data from machines. And this type of machine-fi application can be built with this infrastructure. So with a blockchain, with a layer 2 component, and with IoT devices or whatever is the source of your data. So some use cases, as Giuseppe already mentioned, that can be built that you want to build probably first when you start connecting real world data with blockchain, examples are proof of humanity, machine-fi, as I've mentioned, which are IoT and blockchain, IoT and the apps, IoT devices, or social game or metaverse type of applications, or onboarding like traditional Web 2 IoT like applications on Web 3 in a Web 3 ecosystem. I'm going to leave actually the description of what we will build, or what you will build at 8 Denver if you show up during the workshop. It's 90 minutes, and we really want to build a fully working machine-fi application that will use the IoTeX blockchain and our layer 2, let's call it Oracle, for trusted location. And that works together with the mobile phone and our wallet that acts as the source for the trusted location data in this type of application. So yeah, Giuseppe, I don't know, you want to go maybe take it from here?
Yeah, I'll take it away. So yeah, I can maybe share my screen and basically give a quick sneak peek of what we have. And obviously, this is not meant for production. It's meant for for the devs to learn how to start building products that could be based on trusted location, for example. So the sort of like prerequisite is that for this kind of application, you would use our IoPay native wallet. And with this wallet, you can basically enable trusted location. So the wallet will pair your wallet with your device, and then it will send the location. And then after that, basically what the app that we will build will do, it will basically query this web stream node for saying, okay, was this device at this location within this time range, within the certain area, from this location. And those are all parameters that we will be able to set from the front end, which I will show you in a second. And then the API will come back and will say, yes, he was there.
And we'll send a verifiable proof of this fact. And then the proof.
Exactly.
And then the proof can be verified inside the app in the smart contract.
Exactly. So we sort of have like a double verification. So first of all, we're gonna basically, send the request to the API saying, okay, was this person here? And then the API is gonna say yes. And then the second verification happens on chain by calling a suite of smart contracts that will basically verify that the signature that the API signed that yes, that person was there was actually the correct one. From the web stream node. And once that happens, and that's all all behind the scene, that's all the magic. Once that happens, then in our application that we're building, you will basically get an airdrop NFT. And this is just that's where it ends. But you can imagine that, for example, like I was saying earlier, artists could drop location-based NFTs, or people for the users, or for games, or for all sorts of interesting perks. Then it's just about your imagination.
There are some applications, for example, in the music space, where groups that play a concert in a specific city, they do airdrops for all the people that are actually there at that moment in time watching their concert. And I can actually prove the location of those people using this API that's based on our layer 2 architecture and device application. So Giuseppe, how does the application work?
How does the application work? I can share my screen and show you, but before, I don't know, Derek, do you have any questions, comments, anything that's not clear? Or
yeah, I'm happy to see if my question gets answered over the course of our demo here. But part of what I'm thinking through, just to make sure I understand like these pieces at a high level, is the way in which the mobile device, which is representing the location, is interacting with the physical device, like the MachineFi device. I could imagine this being like a Bluetooth situation where they're pinging each other locally, or is like the phone sending some kind of data?
It's much easier than that. Actually, the device in this case is the smartphone, and paired with the wallet. That's the software part. So
just to play devil's advocate, can't you spoof a phone's GPS location? Like what have we proved?
Yeah, you can, but the reason why we call it trusted location is because using the mobile wallet IoPay, you cannot spoof the location.
Okay.
So
it's like speaking to the hardware more directly or something.
You are 100% sure that the actual location that you're getting in the API Well, actually, you're not even getting the location. You have to query. You have to provide the data because you cannot track anybody with this API. So the app can only provide the information, and the API will say yes, the user was in this location. But you cannot query the API for a user and say, tell me where he is, right? It's like you request for a proof of location, but
that's good.
Right? So the app can only provide information, and you cannot track anybody, right? This is on the query side. But on the device side, the mobile application, IoPay, the wallet, is doing the magic of making sure that the latitude and longitude are actually the hardware data and are not spoofed by the user.
Okay. Yeah.
And then this data, when it's sent to the web stream, so to the layer 2, and in this protocol, there is also the assurance that data is coming exactly from a device from our mobile application. So it's not coming from a simulator or whatever else. So not only the data is true, but it's coming from that device that was registered
from an untampered wallet application.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, because someone in the chat, Praying Daily, was having a similar thought of me, like, okay, I'm familiar with VPNs, this at a general level, trying to spoof my device's location.
No, you cannot do it.
Oh, wow.
That's trusted. That's why it's trusted location.
Cool. I think the devil's in the details a little bit on the way that the application, the wallet, is using the phone's hardware. That's probably outside of my ability to understand, but I appreciate you sort of, just at a high level saying like, it's speaking directly to the hardware and figuring out longitude and latitude and tracking that information.
Yeah. And the cool thing, for example, that I could add on this is that, let's say that, it could be maybe cumbersome for people to say, okay, I need to like download this app and send my location through this app, and then I need to use this other app to claim these rewards and things like that. So if you're actually a builder and you're building an app, we also provide an SDK so that you could do this within your app, which will make the whole process much simpler. And so, like, for example, Derek, what you were saying earlier, right, about front end and UX and making just the whole experience much simpler. Basically, that's also what we're trying to do. So we give any app developer the possibility to also integrate this into their app, so that their user can just like download their app and just use it to send the location and to also query and verify location.
Imagine a game application, right? So the user downloads the game on his mobile phone. So the developer of the game has two options. They just ask their users to also download our wallet to share the location, or they use our SDK and they inside their game will send out the location data so that their user doesn't have to also download the wallet.
Wow.
So let's take a quick look at what we will build during the workshop. This is a platform, not fake, it's working, but it's not production.
Working just on my computer. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not production ready, but the idea was to have a platform where everybody think of a shop like, I don't know, Starbucks or I don't know, any other physical entity wants to an airdrop, right? Wants to create an airdrop for their clients in a specific place at a specific time. They can do that on this platform, and then anybody that are actually sending their location from their phone can then go there and then claim this airdrop on the platform. Actually, even later in the future, as long as they have been there in that specific time range,
exactly,
they can claim the NFT.
And so again, we're trying to make it super simple because obviously the workshop will be mostly focused on how, what building this will entail. So at the end of the day, the application itself is super simple. We have these cards that represent different drops with different hashes and with basically the parameters that do define an airdrop, which are the latitude, the longitude, the distance or the radius for which this token would be valid, and then just a from to, so basically the date that you would have to have been in that specific location, right? And then the number of tokens that a person or whatever entity could create for this airdrop. So super simple. It's kind of like, NFT cards. You would also be able to check which cards you have. And you see, I already claimed one, which is this one here from my place in New York. And yeah, just connected my wallet. I'm going to now just create a new one. And again, super simple. What I'm going to do now is basically put the values that I have that I know will work, because I've already checked in with my IoPay wallet in this location, which is where I am right now, right? So I'm gonna basically just copy and paste these values. So, and this is exactly where I am. So if people want to come find me, I'm
I
giving
was
you
just
the
thinking
exact
this.
location.
This is like pasting your seed phrase level information.
Yeah, it's like, here, if you want to come talk to me, but by all means, just ring the bell. I'll be done in a second.
So
Right?
this one
So you can be.
could be like, imagine you wanna like make a party at your home next Saturday, right? And you wanna airdrop an NFT to the first, I don't know, 10 people that come to your party. And then you create an airdrop, you set the location to your house, you put a radius of, say, I don't know, 10 meters. And then you put the time range from the morning, for example, to the evening, and maybe just 10 tokens in total, and then you register this airdrop. You create this airdrop that gets registered in the smart contract, and then anybody in the world that is a user of IoPay, if they check in that location at that time, they automatically become eligible and they can claim at any time that token. Well, if they're in the first 10 in this case.
Or whatever. Yeah, I'm just making two tokens. But then we'll show you, for example, how you could set up like a little fee for people to create their own airdrop, etc., etc. But that's this is just meant to be a sneak peek, and this is also still work in progress, because we have a couple of weeks before Denver, and so there are many things that could be improved. But as you can see, I just put latitude, longitude, the radius, and the time frame. So once I submit this, obviously it's going to ask me to actually do create it. And so you can see that I have like other locations here, and I've just put places in the world that I like. So I put like Singapore, I put Buenos Aires, I put the other New York one that I had claimed. Those are more like Easter eggs just from myself. So this is the one that we just created, right? Latitude, longitude, the this and the from and to, and so
and there are
super simple.
Two available NFTs out of two, right?
Yeah. Right. And so this super simple, right? There can be a million improvements here, and that's sort of like up to the devs that will come to the workshop to play with and submit and improve it. It's going to be like an open source GitHub repo. But what you can do, for example, is start to unlock this airdrop. So when you unlock it, basically that's when the query happens. And so the query happens, and it's going to say, okay, this person with this wallet that is connected to my device, which in this case is my laptop, was in this location, right? And so since we're using WACME to interact with the contract, WACME has a cool hook, which is going to basically, it's like a prepare the contract right. And so what we'll do is that once it gets the response from the API, is going to basically fake call the contract that will verify that if I was there or not. And then in this case, it should work. But for example, if I try to unlock this and then I try to claim, it will not work, right? So for example, if I unlock this, I think this is Hong. It will ask you to sign this message. So it will say that, this is my wallet account.
Yeah.
We'll say the
notice
that
when the DApp cannot send a query on your behalf, you have to sign the query. So this is another privacy like option. So even though
exactly
the API, the DApp can only provide the data for the query, cannot get any data out of the API. They only can like query a specific wallet in a specific place that they know for some reason. But also that query has to be signed by the specific wallet you are querying the location for. So the DApp cannot query like randomly locations.
Right.
The query has to be signed by the wallet you are querying the location for.
And so, yeah, you
Deeply
basically
preserving.
go ahead. Sorry, Derek.
Oh yeah, I was just saying it's deeply privacy preserving. The difference between the structure here compared to how my very naive understanding of how other GPS querying is done is this is fundamentally different. And
Yes.
I appreciate the thought that went into some of those choices.
Yeah, there are still some limitations because our layer 2 is still not fully decentralized. So of course the data are still managed on the layer 2. So the owner of the node, which is probably the maintainer of the application, still get access, but it's extremely private in terms of usage. You have ownership of your data in the sense that only you with your private key can authorize a query, and so nobody else can do it.
Which opens like this whole world of, we can finally own our data and, do what we want with it instead of just giving it away for free, right? Which is a whole other discussion. But eventually, that's an important one to have. And the cool thing about blockchain is that it somehow empowers this whole change, right? That's what we're here for. So anyway, I'm just going to sign this, and you will see that it should allow me to claim. I'll just do it again. And this is Hong Kong. So
this is one in Hong Kong. This one is going to fail.
Yeah. Okay.
Open MetaMask.
Yeah, just it should show something else. So as always, when you try to
do it live, yeah, let's claim directly the one in New York, maybe.
Okay, cool.
I think
and you can see it's gonna allow me to claim now. I don't know why this was not happening, but whatever. So it's gonna ask me if I want to claim, and I'm just gonna say yes. And there is like a base fee that I put just for people to claim this airdrop, and then I'm just gonna confirm.
Let's give some motivation to developers to build these applications. They want to earn at least some fees from the use. And
now it's just gonna load. We're on testnet, so it runs pretty fast. It just takes a few seconds, and that's the time. Yeah, okay. Claim successful. That's cool. So for example, now if I go into my drops, you remember before I had one. Now I should have this and the new one. And I go back home, and you will see that here I only have one token left instead of two. Which actually made me realize what the problem is here. But if you want, I can try to tell you. But I know what to work on before Denver now.
You have
this little bug.
You have a task. So this NFT
exactly.
This NFT could be, of course, as usual, anything, right? And that gives you access. You can redeem it, maybe whatever the reason why this NFT was created by the creator.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys want to use it for Denver, feel free.
Actually, we have a partner actually at Denver that will showcase a real application based on this API. Yeah, the first one.
But anyway, for example, now if I try to unlock it again and claim it again, it will not allow me to. So,
but there is one more available if anybody in the audience wants to go at Giuseppe's house and claim it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna start having dinner in about half an hour, so you guys are more than welcome.
Come knock, he'll make some extra.
Okay. Yeah, I might make a lentil soup or something.
Okay, so this is the lentil soup airdrop NFT.
This soup airdrop with the hash 0x whatever NE53. Right. But for example, now I'm trying to unlock this again, and obviously I'm not gonna allow people to come and claim more than one lentil soup in my place because I'm hungry. And I'll sign, and it will tell me that it's unable to claim. And that's sort of the use prepare hook that I was about from WAGMI. So WAGMI will not even allow me to send this transaction to the blockchain because it knows that it will fail, because there is something in the smart contract that requires me not to have checked this already. And if you're curious, the bug that we had here is that basically I'm missing one condition. So it's not checking if the API is actually just sending me a negative response. So
No
I need to
worries,
fix
no
that
worries, no worries. We will
for
fix
the
it.
next,
Or
within the next 10
or we
days.
can create a bug bounty for it.
There you go.
Oh, exactly. I mean, why not? But I already gave you the solution. But well,
Okay.
Lots of alpha
it's
here today.
okay. Cool. So basically, that's what we have. I mean, we'll go through the some of the components that went into basically creating this. Obviously, we cannot do the whole thing in 1 hour and a half, but at least do enough that you would be able to then go home and just build your own application based on this.
Mm-hmm. And what was the information again for when and where you'll be doing that on? In
Yeah.
Denver?
Can we share links here, because we made a
Sure.
little Luma
Sure.
page for it. But I mean, it's gonna obviously show in the Denver official calendar. But in the meantime, if anybody wants to come check this out, let's see where I can drop it in the private chat.
That's right. Great.
Yeah.
So here in the chat
And
is that links for folks, just to make it easy for you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, basically this is gonna be February 25th. We're gonna be at the Battle Hub, and it's gonna be from 1 to 2:30 Mountain Time. And if you guys scroll down to the event, at the end you will see we have actually a link to a Telegram group. If people need or have any questions to maybe prep for this, if they want to know, what kind of tech stack you need before starting, or if whatever it is that they need, we'll just have a little Telegram group there so that any dev can start, getting into the mood.
Yeah.
What would you say to? Oh, go ahead, Simone.
Just we're waiting for you guys to show up at the workshop and learn more.
Yeah, and to make jokes about like Giuseppe's lentils to really let them know that you're a serious fiddler. What would you say to folks? A lot of people in our community, like we cast a wide definition with Biddler. It's not just technical devs. It's also designers and marketers and biz dev folks. There's a lot of roles that go into growing a project. And so when I say this question, please keep in mind I'm not just speaking to like computer science people. What advice or perspective would you offer to biddlers that are newer to the space and thinking about where to invest their time and their learning and trying to find projects to contribute to or to build on top of? What's your perspective on what's a valuable use of somebody's time, whether it's developing their skills further or what kinds of projects you'd recommend they look for to devote their time to?
Can I go?
Okay.
I know.
No, please go ahead. No, I'm kidding.
That's yours.
Thank you. No, I mean, I honestly do feel strongly about this, because it's a question that I keep asking myself over and over, because, just 2 and a couple of months of years ago, I was in the same boat and I had no idea about any of this, right? And then I just chose to approach it from a developer point of view. But it can be, I think, overwhelming. And, you guys tell me what you think afterwards. But if you look at, for example, at all the projects that are growing continuously, all the new tools, technologies, videos, tutorials that are just coming up, and it's mind-blowing. And obviously everybody's like, we IoTeX are focusing on connecting real world. Then there is this other application that's, decentralized storage, and this is decentralized SocialFi. And what do you do? My advice would be just start. I mean, there are a few people that are amazingly influential, and they're great educators, and they have great content. And start with those. I mean, I have a few. I'm a personal fan of a few of them. And there are a few projects that are legit and they're actually groundbreaking. And amongst those, and amongst all these overwhelming amount of projects out there, there are some that are not that legit, and they're just like a cool, slick looking website that really does nothing. And it's difficult. There'll be mistakes, but it's fun because you're sort of like in an ever evolving space. I didn't want to be too specific with like my choices, but if you want me, I can
You can name
just be a
names
little
of
bit more.
educators that you're a fan of. Like, for example, Patrick Collins puts out amazing stuff over at
Yeah,
Chainlink. I really
yeah,
appreciate his free code camp courses. Is there anything like that you recommend folks check out?
yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, Patrick is a super nice guy, and his courses have been like are paramount for anybody who wants to really, learn how to build smart contracts. I like Nader a lot. You guys had him over a couple of weeks ago. He has amazing content. He's a super cool guy and a great educator as well. There are other, for example, I think Alchemy has a very good academy. I think Morales has had a lot of content that really helped me a lot when I was learning. For example, I like the content by Philip, the CEO of Morales, and Ivan. They had good stuff. Also, some of my family lives in Sweden, so I always had a soft spot for them. And those, I mean, that amount of content will keep you guys busy for a while, and then
Definitely.
come back in this address when you need more, and I'll welcome you with a warm soup.
Oh, great.
And an
Simone,
NFT.
yeah.
And an NFT.
Simone, what would you recommend or share as some wisdom or advice for folks?
Well, yeah, maybe because I'm from the 70s, so I have a different way of learning. I don't know how many people will share my way of learning, but it's very old fashioned. I like books. And also I've been interested from the beginning into the technical aspect of how blockchain worked. So definitely I would suggest if you're just getting started in general, of course, start becoming a user first. That was my, of course, first step. And then become a power user. So not only learn what you are doing, but how it works, right? Why you are doing it this way. Don't get stuck on the easy UI sometimes and try to dive deeper, become a user of the blockchain, not a user of intermediaries. That's the mood of Web3, right? And then I personally, I read some book on Solidity. I've liked a lot Fundamentals of Smart Contract Security book. There also I read a book about tokenomics. That's also interesting. I can't remember the exact title, but it's on Amazon. And I read a lot of academic scientific papers because anyway, there is still not that much around, but you can find amazing content if you really want to learn deep how things work. There are a lot of blockchain-oriented papers ranging from consensus mechanisms to token economy to whatever you are interested if you are a technical person. So I'm the one that likes to read rather than follow. But of course, I'm also a tutorial consumer, not the type of like one-hour tutorials, but mostly I like to dive deep.
Fun fact about Simone, sometimes on Monday morning it shows up and it's like, yeah, I read this whole book about Rust over the weekend. And I was like, it takes me months to do one book. That's like a story,
Yeah, when you have read many books like about programming languages, reading one more is just a reference. As you just go straight to the important points, right? Because you don't have to learn about loops or structures. You just go straight to the.
I think that's an important point worth saying the corollary of, which is for folks that are newer to the space, newer to programming languages. I talk to a lot of folks that either have only learned JavaScript and are trying to learn Solidity. That was my path. Some folks even are trying to have Solidity be the first language they ever know and don't know what a struct is, don't know what an interface is. It's their first import statement. They don't even have NPM yet, much less Yarn. And to them, I say, it's okay that it's slow and confusing and you feel like an idiot half the time. Like that's a very natural part of the learning progression. It takes many, many hours of experience to get to a point where Simone is, where you'd say, oh, my pattern recognition is kicking in. Most languages have objects or classes or however they do the data structure. So this is just a new syntax for me. Whereas if it's your first language, you're like, what the hell's a class?
Exactly.
I wanted to acknowledge that, that's my high school teacher kicking in again. Like, this is meant to be confusing in the beginning. It's totally fine, especially with software development. It's just like modern software development. The good news is that we have a lot of abstractions that expedite the process for getting a lot of impressive stuff done. But the price to be paid is that it sometimes feel like you're just learning arbitrary, like someone over on this team on the React team made a decision and then the next team made a decision and now I'm trying to do some kind of weird import and it's all just magic spells that random humans decided the syntax of. So it's a very, very, very steep learning curve to get to a point where you can do anything. But then once you can do a lot of stuff really quick. So it's not an ideal situation as a learner, but I try to have this speech. I say it, every so often here on stream to help put some wind in people's sails, because it's totally understandable if you get discouraged along the way.
Eventually
you gotta be stubborn.
Whatever the path you take, it's gonna take time anyway, and because eventually you start learning when you start building, and building takes time, and eventually after a project that you have built, it's experience that will make you learn. And on the side, of course, you have to use reference material, but that's not that one, the learning. It's when you build. And when you debug.
That's actually, he's the master debugger.
I can actually, I struggle a lot with these like JavaScript languages, because I come from C++ and strongly typed languages where you know exactly what's going on. But then with JavaScript and Node.js, it's been a pain for me to learn it because there is no type check. So I just made all type of mistakes. And also it's kind of a wrap of something else that's in the background, like exporting modules, right? I have no idea why I had no idea why I had to export a module, what it is, right? Why? That's because I didn't know JavaScript as a language first. And anyway, it's very different from the strongly typed programming I was used to. So it's much easier for me, Solidity, than JavaScript. Because Solidity, it's much more similar to, it's strongly typed mostly. And it's synchronous, while JavaScript, like Node.js, is totally asynchronous. And
that's the coolest part. But on top of that, I wanted to add, honestly, sometimes you just gotta be lucky and you gotta like meet some people along the way that will help you a lot. Like, for example, I gotta say in the 7.5 months that I've worked with Simone, I've learned so much from him. And sometimes, you get lucky enough to meet people that will help you grow immensely really fast. And I think the Web3 community is amazingly generous in that regard. You will always find people that will help you, even if you just randomly ask questions online, or if you randomly reach out to these people that are super influential in the space, they will always help you.
I feel
so
like we are still in the early adopters phase, where everybody who is in the space is because of passion.
Yes. I also see, it's a bit of a clumsy metaphor, but this sort of open source ethos also applies to knowledge. Like if you go into a community and say, I'm curious, people are like, I'm happy to share my knowledge with you. I'm not going to try to be protective and keep you out and gatekeep. It's like, oh, you're curious about this? I'm I'm lonely. Nobody ever asked me about this. I'm excited to share this esoteric thing my family is sick of hearing about. And so people tend to be very generous with their knowledge and time. That's been my experience as well.
I don't remember who said it, but they said there is always space. There is space for everybody on top, So it's not that you try to just like keep people away because it's like your secret, like you're saying. There is room for everybody.
Yeah. Well, thank you both. Are there any parting words or things you want to make sure folks are aware of before we say goodbye today?
I mean,
we have said a lot.
That's true. We can leave it there.
Yeah. I would say just rewatch this and make sure you
Play it on
learn
repeat.
everything.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
Derek, are you gonna be in Denver, like in person, or?
Yep.
Cool. So it'll be nice to actually see you in person. And
Yep. I'll see you at the Biddle Hub. I look forward to the workshop.
Great.
Yeah, sounds great. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you both for coming on. I've learned a lot about IoTeX and IoT and MachineFi. It's just one of those things that's still in its Cambrian explosion phase of like, let's just try stuff out. Like, I don't know, let's put my heart rate on the blockchain and see where we go from there. Like, do GPS airdrop. I don't know. Will it catch on? Will it not? It's important to try. And so I appreciate what you and the rest of the team are doing to create an infrastructure to make it that much easier for us to try and have fun with the kinds of projects people make at ETH Denver and beyond. So thank you everyone for watching today. Give some love to Giuseppe and Simone and appreciation for being generous with their time and all the hard work they're doing behind the scenes. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for another one of these and on Friday for Raise Your Sporks as we continue to get ready for ETH Denver 2023. I have been Derek. I continue to be Derek. And until next time, Giuseppe and Simone, if you'd be willing, I ask guests to always send everyone off by saying, bye.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
He didn't do it.
No, Simone, you got to do a big, cartoonishly loud one.
Bye, guys. No, I'm too much
He's
technical
too old.
person.
He won't do it. No fun. I'm from the 70s. I read books. I don't say bye.
Exactly. I say bye, but I don't say it the way you want. I can't say it.
I can't. He literally can't. He would love to. Physiologically, he's unable to.
That's why I hired.
It's a medical condition. I understand.
Exactly. That's why we hired Giuseppe.
You got to expand the team. That was on the job description, huh?
Exactly.
Thank you both again. It's been an absolute